Hello, everyone. Here we are for an episode of Ask James. I am Jim. So it's Jim Ask James the question. So, James, you interviewed me about a year or so ago. Yeah, something like that. And now it's my turn to interview you. I'm not a professional interviewer, but I'll give it a shot. Why not?
Go for it.
So James, could you give me your elevator speech of how you got into business and who you are and what do you do and all that type of stuff.
Well, as the son of Greek immigrant parents, I was born and raised here. I also lived in the U.S. for about 4 years, lived in Greece for about 12 years. I went to McGill University, got my bachelor's in commerce. Then I did a diploma in management. And I've been involved with insurance, selling yachts, selling a whole bunch of stuff in my last 30, 40 years. I'm still selling. I'm still selling.
So
Directly or indirectly.
So you're a salesman or a marketeer?
You can say that I'm a little bit of several. I'm a marketeer, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a salesperson, and I'm also an educator and an advisor.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. So how did you, when you were a young person, how did you make the determination to get into business, commerce, marketing, sales, finance, all those type of things? What led you down that path? Was there a particular person or many people, or when you're just starting out in university, what made you decide to go that route?
Good question. I started when I was, I guess, 10, 11 years old. I used to pretend that I had a shop at home.
Okay.
And then from there, I started, selling several things, used stuff that I had to my friends and strangers. And I enjoyed the business aspect. It grew in me. And that's when I decided that, hey, I want to stick to business.
Okay.
And that's another reason why I chose commerce when I enrolled in university.
Why did you choose McGill, the Harvard of the North?
This is why, because of reputation. I could have gone to Concordia, but nobody knows Concordia outside of Canada.
Well, yeah. Well, that was then. Now it's becoming a little
changed.
well known, and especially my field, engineering, and so
absolutely.
on.
So, Concordia is well known for engineering, including aerospace engineering, which is what you're.
Yeah. So who were your role models that made you want to think, whether you were young or as you progressed, what influenced you? A lot of books or knowing, reading Fortune magazine or Inc. or
all of the above. I used to read Inc., Fortune magazine. I used to listen to a lot of motivational cassettes, especially when I was of age and I used to start driving. I called it the University on Wheels.
Oh, okay.
You just pop in a CD or cassette. And I used to listen to individuals such as Lee Iacocca, Jack Welch, right? GE. And a whole bunch of other motivators at the time.
Oh, okay. So you do a little bit of everything: marketing, sales, this, that. You teach a class. Your class is on incorporation,
business,
sole proprietorship, Quebec Inc., Canada
Inc., and professional sales.
Do you have one class, or do you have different tiers of classes?
I teach about 3 groups every year.
And where do you do that at?
I do that at a vocational education institution, and from time to time, I also teach at Concordia University's business administration faculty.
Yeah, that's cool. So what do you enjoy the most from teaching? Obviously, I mean, I was a trainer. I enjoyed training. There was something, I was thrown into it. A boss quit and the trainer quit, and the next thing you know, I was in charge of training, and I learned how to do training. So I got thrown into the fire, so to speak. Were you ever trained as a trainer? What motivated you to be a trainer? How did you get into that?
I used to train people in companies, the companies I work for, in sales in particular. And I enjoyed sharing my experiences with my audiences, and I also enjoy seeing people, grow and succeed.
Okay.
That's where I get my kicks out of teaching, besides sharing my experiences.
So whenever you did sales, what was the biggest sale you ever made?
It was selling a yacht, a $8 million yacht,
Well,
when I had my yacht brokerage firm in Greece.
well. So how did you set up in Greece? How did you get to Greece? I know you're Greek. You eat lots of souvlaki. So how did you get to Greece, and how did you get set up, and how did you learn the Greek laws and all that? And I'm sure it's similar to Canada, but it's not identical.
Right. No,
In any
it's
way.
very, very different. Absolutely. No, I when I lived in the U.S., I was on a temporary work visa, and when it expired, I had a choice. What do I renew it? Do I go back to Montreal, or perhaps I can go to Greece, where my roots are from, and take advantage of the European Union's opportunities as well. So I
Yeah, it was
decided to
more
pack.
prime time to be
It was
in Europe
when
than
I
yeah,
decided to move. It was a prime time.
yeah,
Greece, was really on its way up
yeah.
in terms of vibrancy of business and economy.
Well, I lived down in Texas, and
Yeah.
I mean, it had its advantages like taxes and stuff like
Right.
that, but it also had a lot of disadvantages. They'd hit you with taxes in other ways that aren't advertised, and so on. Did you ever consider setting up a corporation in Texas? I know you were in the
I
Dallas Fort
had
Worth.
a registered company because I was importing olives
Okay.
from Greece. That was one of the businesses that I started during my business career.
Okay.
Um, and once I decided to leave, I basically closed the company, gave my client base to a friend of mine, and he took over.
Oh, okay.
I didn't sell my business. I just
So what other
gave him.
ventures did you have in Texas? And we'll head over to Europe
I
whenever.
was in the insurance and financial services business. I was responsible. I was a marketing director for the Dallas Fort Worth area,
Okay.
and that's what I was doing predominantly. Besides having my side business of importing olives.
So the Dallas thing kind of disappeared, like a tumbleweed on the LBJ
Right.
freeway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And you head off to Greece. It's a whole different world.
That's right.
But you were familiar with Greece?
I was
Greece as
familiar.
a youth,
I was familiar, and I had a pretty good idea
family.
because of my family, and because I visited before. So I knew what I was getting myself into, but I wasn't sure, where I would get started. I'd have no job prospects when I moved to Greece, but I knew that I wanted to get involved with merchant maritime
Oh,
because
okay.
Greece
Yeah, big
is
shipping
known,
company.
right? They own 1/3 of the world's fleet, by
Yeah.
the way. Yeah. And I did some networking, and I met a gentleman who gave me the opportunity because it's a closed community, the shipping business. You have to know people.
Yeah.
And I got my foot in the door.
Plus, you're fluent in Greek.
That helps. That helps. But
Were you fluent when you got there? I mean, it's one thing to go around Park X and go
well, I
into
was fortunate
Greek
that
restaurants.
my parents raised me in Greek,
Yeah.
and they sent me to Greek school for several years. And that's how I learned to speak, write, and read Greek.
So when you were in Dallas, you were kind of more like low-level, medium management type. But when you got to Greece, you elevated yourself and became an entrepreneur, solopreneur.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
I worked for one of the largest shipping container companies in the world, a Danish company known as Maersk.
Yeah. You see them everywhere, especially in rail yards.
Right.
You see them, container cargo ships.
They gave me a very good offer. The pay was double what the average monthly earnings for locals were, and I did that for about 2 years, and then I met somebody who works at the Danish embassy, and he said, "Hey, would you be interested in coming for a sailing weekend with me?" Sailing? I've never done that before. The only sailing I've done was in my bathtub, with
little kid.
There you go. So I went along. It was a fascinating experience. And then he said, "Hey, by the way, one business you may want to consider, we can go in together, is to buy a used sailing yacht and rent it out. We call it charter. To chart it out, and we can." He put the numbers on paper. I was intrigued by them, and I said, "Yeah, what does it take?" He goes, "Well, we put X amount each, and we'll buy ourselves, a 15-year-old, well-maintained sailing yacht, and we can rent it out." I went ahead, and for the first year, we did 160 days back to back of sailing charters. It was very successful.
So that changed your life for the better, man.
It did.
I mean, you were in the right place, the right time.
Absolutely.
And just a friend, let's go sail. Next thing you know, you're buying and selling yachts for. How long did you do that, or do you still do that?
I did that for 10 out of the 12 years that I lived in Greece.
Oh, okay.
Eventually I started my own brokerage firm, and I was representing big yachts and over 80 feet, crude yachts, because that's where the money is. And from charters, I went to sales, and from sales, I also managed yachts on behalf of the owners.
So you were still chartering. You had some. Yes. Who were some of your clients?
I shouldn't be naming them, but they were pretty prominent people from all over the world, including heads of states.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So you made contacts and friends, and then you get recurring business, and then
most of my business was referrals.
And are you still involved with yachts?
As soon as I moved back, I was involved for about a year and a half. Then I dropped it, and 18 years later, I was encouraged by one of the owners when I visited Greece last year to reconsider, getting my business off the ground.
Oh, okay.
So I did, and I'm representing his 12 sailing yachts. And I basically created my website, and I'm focusing on the North American market.
I remember my wife and I, your cousin-in-law, sort of.
Right. Yeah.
She and I ran into you. We were in a health food store.
That's right.
And you were like, try this, and we're looking, and then you had a food and beverage and.
Right. That's right. Yes. Several years ago, I started a health food and beverage business. The first product was during the gluten-free craze.
Okay.
Right? So with my partner, we came up with a gluten-free and vegan pita crisp.
Wow.
That was our initial product.
Yeah.
And the name of the company was Artisan Fine Foods, spelled with a Z. And then from there, we went and we launched the Greek tea.
Oh yeah, I remember buying that. I'd go into town and actually pick up a few. Are you still doing that?
No, I sold my shares of the business right before COVID, which timing was.
Yeah, timing is everything in business, obviously.
And I left that business. Having gone through 6 years in that business, I don't think I'd go back to it. It's a really tough business.
Regulations.
Regulations, and you need a lot of money for the
inventory,
because you're competing on the shelves, right?
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
So what other type of business ventures are you in, or have you been in, and what have you learned, and have you learned from a business flop? Like I've learned a lot from things I haven't succeeded from, which I won't mention.
Well, during COVID, fortunately for me, I decided to start. I had a client who was a seamstress, She had a company that used to produce aprons and uniforms for the hospitality industry. And she was devastated because they were shutting down. I mean, her clients because of COVID. And I brought up an idea. I said, why don't we take advantage of the masks that people have to wear, and come up with reusable, washable masks. I said, all we have to do is make sure we get the right fabric, and you already have the seamstresses. You don't even have to, let them go.
Yeah, yeah.
And she goes, that's a great
It's an
idea.
opportunity, man.
And then I did all the sales. I went out, got a whole bunch of corporate and individual clients. And, she started producing a good number of them. Did it for about 3-4 months. And then China started dumping their disposable masks. You can't compete with that.
Yeah, I think
So
I
it was
have a
time
few
to
boxes
bail
of
out.
them. I have a
Right.
few boxes of
So
them.
for 4 months, we did some brisk business. Yeah.
What is a solopreneur? I mean, if links below there, you interviewed me about solopreneur. In your words, and what are the advantages,
Sure.
disadvantages, and obviously you would want to point younger people in this direction so they don't become slaves in a cubicle. Sorry for anybody who works in a cubicle.
I guess you have a thing against cubicle.
Yeah, there's something. Yeah, they're noisy and counterproductive, and yeah.
Well, a solopreneur, the best definition is it's a person that goes into business for himself or herself, and with no partners and no investors and no employees. So you are the business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
You
I
yourself,
am
that's it.
my business.
Right. Yeah, that's what a solopreneur is.
Yeah.
Once you start hiring employees, or start bringing in partners or investors, then it becomes
much bigger
viable business.
things. Yeah. Yeah. So
another league.
when you teach about sole proprietor, Quebec Inc., Canada Inc.,
Right.
and probably any other Canada variation, Ontario Inc., Nova Scotia Inc., and so on, do you get into well, what about when we get to the point where we want to hire someone else, and how do you do the payroll, and how do you, the T4s?
I go through all the details. I outline the advantages and disadvantages of each type of business.
Okay.
And I also go into depth about hiring people and the responsibilities when doing so.
So what do you consider? I mean, obviously, in the world of business, the marketing, the finance, the sales, you have to come up with a product, or you have to have a service. They're all different. Each company is different, and it's really hard to train people, teach people how do you put this business together. But I guess in the long run, they come back to you and they say, well, we're going to add an employee. I might have a new product line. This is a service I want to provide. So how do you steer people to, decision-making type of concepts?
It's all a process. And everyone has to be on the same page in terms of your ideas, your passions, your strategy. And you have to be very methodical, right? And you also have to take what I call calculated risks. You don't want to go all in. You want to have a look at the pros and cons of every decision that you're making. You have to have the right people, and you have to trust them to run with your ideas. It takes coaching, it takes training, and competence, of course, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be disciplined and structured.
What's the number one hurdle in starting a business? And before you answer that, when I started my business, it was out of necessity. Well, we can't hire you unless you're a contractor, and therefore you have to be a Canada Inc. At first they're taking sole proprietor, but then it gets to the point where they say, no, we only hire Canada Inc. So to me, I found the biggest hurdle was just filling out all that paperwork, essentially for Revenue Canada, even though they administer for Revenue Quebec, right? Okay, revenue, yeah, the other way.
Right.
So what I found was just the paperwork was daunting, the bank, the this, the that, the that, the that. But then you get to a point where it sort of runs itself. You have to report your quarterly, and then you do this and that, and at the end of the year you do that, and you have all your write-offs or whatever you're doing. But I could see that this could be intimidating to somebody, 23 years old who's just going through university. So what would you tell them?
I would tell them that it's very difficult to wear different hats. You don't want to be doing everything on your own. You want to focus on what you're good at, and then basically outsource what you are not able or not sure of how to do.
Hmm. Yeah, the
Via
accounting, or
accounting,
the tax laws,
the lawyers,
the regulations,
right,
and so
finance
on.
people.
Yeah.
You need individuals around you that can help you piece everything together.
So you probably can't give an example of a particular person, but what kind of companies have people who have been trained by you go on to start, and how successful are they? Obviously, you're going to have the whole range of very successful all the way down to they gave up and now they're in a cubicle.
Yeah, no. I've had, not everyone I've trained has started a business. I would say that about 40% of my students have gone and actually launched a business. But everything from starting a storage depot to opening up a tennis store.
Wow, tennis store. Okay.
Tennis store. I've had someone who started a cleaning business. Another person started a transportation company. So a little bit of everything.
Wow.
One other individual started a restaurant/bar. Yeah, supper club.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Have you ever been involved with restaurants and that type of thing in the business world?
No.
No. Okay.
No, it never interested me. I would rather, enjoy a nice meal at a restaurant rather than to actually manage or
Yeah, it seemed like it would be a lot of work.
It's a very tough business.
Yeah.
And the margins
Tight
are very, very
margins.
thin.
Yeah.
It's not something I encourage anyone to get into.
Okay.
Yes.
So insurance and yachts and all these
luxury items as well.
Yeah, luxury items.
I've been involved with that as
one
well.
of my questions.
Yes. When I came back to Canada, I started with Sotheby's International. That was my initial employer when I returned. But it wasn't to look out to look for new listings to sell as a real estate agent per se, but to do market research.
Okay, yeah, this is a different part of
it.
Yeah.
And eventually, I started marketing condos, luxury condo units downtown. The first one was on the Maisonneuve and Stanley. The next one was in Côte-Saint-Luc. And then I decided to take the opportunity of selling luxury, high-end, or I like to call premium Bluetooth products.
Okay.
I did that for about 2 years. And then from there, I decided to go into, I had an opportunity to start teaching business.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So out of all these things, which one makes you the happiest? Or all of them? Or
by far, without a doubt, I would have to say yachting, the yachting business.
Yeah. So
that was extremely glamorous and very well paid.
So you would contract a captain, and they would go out, and then you'd have your crew to cook and clean, and
right? Yeah.
So you would have that would seem like it'd be a challenge, especially.
I actually bought a yacht when I was in Greece.
Wow.
It was a 28-meter or
what did you call her?
Dynasty.
Dynasty.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, from the Dallas days.
That's right. Yeah. And that was the worst investment I've ever made in my lifetime.
Why was that?
Because it's draining. Every month I had to to dish out approximately €10,000.
Yeah.
To pay for everything from insurance to the crew to fuel, berthing fees, repairs. I used to get calls frequently from the engineer saying, now we need this, now we need this. So I kept my hands in my pockets all the time, trying to find another
so
€500.
so did you deal with Lloyd's Maritime? There was
Yes. You have two insurance. You have liability insurance, which is what Lloyd's does, and then you have your actual uh, yacht insurance to cover the asset itself.
Hmm.
And they separate them into two.
So whenever you buy a yacht, they come with a certificate that would, from somebody like a Lloyd's Maritime, not the insurance company, that says this vessel is seaworthy and you have all these codes that you have to adhere to,
Right.
and the maintenance.
That's right. Yeah, you have the registration
just
of
like
the
an
yacht
aircraft.
itself. You have the registration of seaworthiness, and then you also have the registration of the flag state.
Mhm.
If the
Were
flag
you
that see in the
flagged
back-
in Greece?
I was flagged in Greece.
Okay, not
Others are
Cyprus
using what we
or-
call flags of convenience because
Okay.
it's less expensive to operate a yacht, meaning that you don't have to hire expensive local Greek crew.
So what's the largest amount of yachts you were managing at, let's say, one time?
There were 4 yachts.
Hmm.
4 yachts, but they were large yachts. When I see a large yacht, over 80 feet.
Oh, okay.
And with at least 4 to 8 crew members, each one.
So would you go out with a party and go through the Mediterranean and
absolutely.
go to Cyprus or where?
I didn't go as far as Cyprus, but I did
Adriatic?
Aegean Islands.
Okay. Yeah.
Mainly Aegean Islands. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And people really love that, right? Because it's beautiful and it's fun and
it's extremely exciting, glamorous.
Wow.
It was part of my lifestyle.
And do you miss
It's a lifestyle business.
Do you miss that now that you're out here in the beautiful tundra?
I do, especially going through our harsh, long winters. It could be depressing, from time to time. But and I think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. You sometimes when I talk to you, I feel like you're out on a Greek island somewhere on a yacht.
I'd like to think
with a Mai Tai or whatever.
Absolutely.
So, do you have any final words?
Yes, for anyone who's looking to get into a professional field, make sure it's one which is not going to be that AI is not going to take over in the future. You don't want to waste 4 years doing a degree that's not going to give you anything in return. For example, political science, the arts. English literature major. You want something which has a solid future and will be paying you very well. Eventually, you may also want to consider if you can take the risks to start your own business, and you don't have to start with a fancy office off the bat. You start small and as a solopreneur, and then eventually, you can scale. But you have to do it step by step. And always make sure that you have, strong financial backing.
And how do you do that? Good credit
That's
rating.
That's one of the most difficult things in starting a business, by the way.
Yeah.
Is funding. Unless you come from, an affluent family, you're going to have to work hard to bootstrap and to find, sources of funding.
So when you went to Greece, you had to do that, obviously, right? You had to find finance to be financed to be able.
No, actually, I was self-financed. I was earning so much money from charters that I invested that money into my brokerage firm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, because you're looking at anywhere between 15 and 18% commission on a charter, and a typical charter would go for about $20,000-$30,000 a week.
Okay.
Euros a week.
Yeah, euros.
So you do the math when your commission is averaging about 15%.
Okay.
And I kept my expenses as low as possible, and that's how I was able to not only survive but to thrive.
Well, Congratulations for
It was a
thriving.
pleasure. I enjoyed this
I
session.
enjoyed this. I have never really, I mean, I've interviewed people for jobs. I've never interviewed somebody on YouTube. Maybe I'll start a new career. Leave a message below to let us know.
Something to consider.
Anyway,